catch up with the racing action very shortly, folks, but you can no doubt see the potential that lies in wait with Team Falcons. There's definitely more to come, I think, Lewis.
Oh yeah, certainly so. Look, I think these a lot of these teams have that maybe not have started out so great. They are going to be finding an extra gear as the day rolls on. There is 8 races for them to deal with, but as we've always said, as much as there's 8 races, each team has 4 drivers, which means you only get 2 races. You only get 2 chances to prove yourself as a driver. Now, for the drivers like Ferris Stanley, who had an unbelievable performance in the previous race, congratulations.
Yeah. Incredible.
In that sense, there's almost like the pressure's off a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, no doubt, after Keke Oliveira's brilliance yesterday, following that up with a straight P2 from someone like Ferris Stanley, it's unbelievable. VS Plus competition. Florian Haspar must be thrilled with that. Again, following suit from promising results yesterday. Of course, though, there are other teams to be wary of. Apex Racing Team also considered an underdog. They don't generally consider themselves to be up there with the likes of Porsche Coando, who do have manufacturers support. They are factory drivers. If you look at the likes of Josh Rogers, Charlie Collins, Mitchell de Jong, of course, Mac Backham in the past, Dane Warren, of course, too, and Team Redline, who strongly associate themselves with BMW alike, have their roots spore from the likes of Max Verstappen in Formula One, and having drivers such as Jeffrey Rietveld behind the wheel, who is going to be facing quite the challenge this time around. Obviously, he's going to have his own challenge in front of him. Kevin Siggy, however, champion in the driver's phase. He's not on pole this time, but you can never write off Kevin Siggy.
No, never, ever, ever. I mean, look, me and Siggy, we were reminiscing this morning about our history in the world of sim racing. Yeah, I've been commentating on him and racing against him since 2013. We've got a lot of history in there, and in that he's had a lot of ups and downs. And I think yesterday was probably one of the highest highs. Probably the lowest low was smashing his head into the steering wheel. We're not going to talk about that too much. It was pretty funny though.
Would have been lower if he passed out or hit the floor.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Someone was telling me, like, I'm not going to say who, just in case. But when he obviously headbutted the wheel, obviously everyone had to come over and like give him a little bit of medical support. Sebastian Job's in the middle of a really good lap, so he's like trying to drive whilst all these medics are over at like Siggy being like, what's actually happening here? Either way, we'll get on to the rolling start in just a second. Who's winning this race?
Well, it's hard to tell. Siggy, though, up on the front row. Kevin Ellis Jr. alongside him. I'd say you've got to give Kev a chance. Well, one of the
Which one?
Well, I was going to say there's 2 Kevins on the front row. Remember they went wheel to wheel at Spa?
I think we're going to see some fun. That's the important bit. The pace car will peel off to the left-hand side and bring it down pit road, and it will be Kevin Ellis Jr. with the control, of course, courtesy of pole position. It's all Porsche Coanda there on row 2, as Siggy will start alongside the driver's champion. And Kevin Ellis Jr., I think, is about to get this race underway. We crossed the stripe, and we are now moving down to the first corner. Good start, though, coming in from Kevin Siggy, who gets to the outside. A little bit of a bump draft coming in, of course, from the Porsche Coanda of Mitchell de Jong, trying to get around the outside of his teammate. A little bit of contact between the Porsche Coandas. And what's happened to Kevin Ellis Jr.? He has gone straight on a turn 1. I didn't even see that. It was out of shot. He must have missed his braking mark.
Hardship there for Big Kev, and it's Kevin Siggy now who takes over the lead. Keke Oliveira, though, still fighting it out for BS Plus competition in a bid to maybe bring successive P2s for the Stampede. And now sits in second, contact with Charlie Collins, and the sister Porsche Coanda now moves alongside Mitchell de Jong up into third. Collins felt every bit of that, and further back, Robbie Stapleford also fighting hard in the midfield against Daniel Tillich and Rietveld and Matuszewski.
Yeah, it was Matuszewski. He sent a big one down the inside, and now he's got to get to the outside of Rietveld, and the Staple is desperately trying to hang on. A couple of swaps of oversteer as we ride on board with Charlie Collins. Robbie Stapleford's now dropped back to 7th position and all that, so Rietveld's up to 6th. It is, though, Kevin Siggy leading from Oliveira, then de Jong Collins, which basically is the same position they started in. It's just Oliveira that's made such a good start. Incredible stuff. BS Competition have got this car hooked up when it comes to the early stages of the race.
Yeah, they certainly do. Keke Oliveira, in fact, is more of a threat now. He's on the tail of Kevin Siggy. He was within a 10th coming through the bus stop chicane. Unbelievable starts here from the Brazilian, all the way from Sao Paulo, and is representing this BS Plus competition after taking part in ESL R1 last year for Furia Team, his home nation's team as well. But took his first victory in ESL R1 at Spa in the Drivers' Championship in round 3 earlier on in this very competition. Here comes Stapleford around the outside here with Jeffrey Rietveld on his inside. Here coming through the bank corners here, Lewis.
Silly stuff, this. If you're going to fight, what's the point? I mean, look at the gap between 5th position and the top group. 1.7 seconds. Do you really want to fight for 5th? Maybe even sitting behind and letting everyone get some good laps and trying to close up to the back of Charlie Collins so you can maybe battle for race victory? Is that not the better option? Alas, these not being too patient as Daniel Chillick looks to the inside there and clears his way past Robbie Stapleford. Stapleford dropping backwards a little bit. That BS competition does get a little bit lost around the Virtus Pro cars, doesn't it? Only because that one is white, orange and black. And guess what colour the Virtus Pro cars are? Oh yeah, white, orange and black. Yeah. I know one's a Merc and one's a BMW.
Slightly different manufacturer.
But I'm an idiot.
But you could say and argue that this is territorial work here from Matuszewski. Obviously, Team Falcons could take home some decent points in 5th. They're looking to try and fight to maybe at the very least, get into the top half for the second chance fight that is going to be brewing tomorrow with those that don't go through into the top 4. Remember, 2 teams get eliminated come the very end of the day today, and Falcons, at the very least, don't want to be part of it. Here's the replay, Lewis.
He just overdoes it. I know it was a little bit out of shot, but I had that gut feeling there's no way that's going to be... I said no way. It just didn't feel like there was contact because Siggy was still on the road. I think he just got on the brakes. He's hit a bump going down to T1. There are quite a few there. I've always found T1 and T2 really, really tricky around here. And it's just overcooked it. And now the Apex Racing team running 11th and 12th. Absolute disaster. And I can imagine they're not particularly happy back there. No,
not at all. I mean, there's several ways this can go right now. Oliveira could stay behind Siggy for the duration. Of course, Siggy, part of Team Redline, 2 of their drivers would make the move on Dara McCormack coming through across the start-finish line not too long ago. Of course, that being yesterday, Siggy leaving the door wide open as they now beckon their way through turns 1 and 2. Kike Oliveira could yet take victory here. He is in prime position, but you've got to be wary of the 2 Porsche Commanders that sit in wait. 3rd and 4th, they could easily work together here to potentially advance their very own cause in this race.
Yeah, Porsche Coanda with 11th place and 4th place in the previous race, obviously at Fuji. Realistically, could look with hoovering up quite a couple of decent points. 3rd and 4th would be very good with Mitch de Jong and Charlie Collins here. A little bit of a look to the outside there. You would say, this is going to sound really harsh, I would say Charlie Collins is the newer one in the team between the 4 of them, and Mitchell de Jong, arguably between the 4, maybe isn't the fastest. You'd know that Dane Warren is really, really quick, and Josh Rogers is really, 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 really quick.
Yeah.
Right? So you'd say those 2, realistically, the 2 more likely to pick up the most points. Right? And the thing is at the moment, it's looking like, well, it might be Mitchell de Jong and Charlie Collins to pick up the most points right now, and they might need to do the team's work. They're aiming to get the team into the top 4 of the points. They move straight through into Sunday. That's the important bit.
Yeah, unfortunately for Dane Warren, where his kryptonite isn't necessarily qualifying, it was in our last race. Obviously, if Warren qualifies better, then maybe there is a better chance for Porsche Coanda's other 2. But it definitely looks like Mitchell de Jong and Charlie Collins are holding all the cards for Porsche Coanda in 3rd and 4th, and still with a chance to perhaps even take double podiums in this race. But it's still Kevin Siggy out in front. Kike Oliveira has done well to remain within 3 to 4 tenths. He's now broken to within 3 tenths now, with Mitchell de Jong ahead of his teammate who now has the fastest lap. Of course, Charlie Collins taking that some time ago. Jeffrey Rietveld has managed to move up to 5th ahead of Matuszewski and breaks clear of that Team Falcons driver by 3 tenths, as now we see them come together further back as well. This is up at the front, I should say, but in the distance, Matuszewski coming straight back out Rietveld too.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of patience happening out there as we're approaching the halfway point of the race. It's not quite the thriller that we had at Fuji, that you and the out-and-out best commentator in sim racing apparently was able to view and watch. I had a good time watching it, don't worry, it's fine. I'm not salty. As we'll see, that's not my words. Charlie Collins and Mitchell de Jong, those switching positions, so Collins 3rd now, but yeah, look, the last race is very, very exciting. This one's a lot calmer.
Yeah, it's a little bit steadier. But naturally, I think at this stage, obviously the driver's just being a little cautious. Kike Oliveira doesn't want to show his hand too early, I would say, because he knows exactly what could yet happen. We saw what happened to Dara McCormack yesterday. We allude to it because it is an ongoing factor that the slipstream is obviously going to be very powerful here at Daytona. The 2 Porsches now sitting in 3rd and 4th still. You can see the gap between Rietveld and Mitchell de Jong hasn't allayed that much. It's around a second now at this stage. Just drafted out to 1.1 to 1.2. The gap's there. Currently gap to leader on show. I think Rietveld has put in a little bit of donkey work, because that gap, I would argue, is actually a little bit smaller than what it was before.
It's 1.4 seconds. The problem is, obviously, he's not getting any slipstream. he needs to really commit coming through the Le Mans chicane, which you can kind of see he has done because the gap's come down to just under 1 second actually. So he is going to be getting a little bit of the slipstream. If there's any lifting or side-by-side to this grouping, he will close up. I think you're absolutely right. I think Jeff Rietveld is actually closing up to this group, right? I think he might have a chance of doing it. But you need to see some of the absolute best lapping known to mankind. Because look at it. It's gone out to 1.3, 1.4 by the time we get down to T1. Now is when Rietveld needs the perfect first corner. And he needs to close that gap down really. It needs to be within a second as they come out into NASCAR 1 and depart the infield section.
Yeah, first sector and the second sector are going to be absolutely key for Rietveld in order to try and close this gap right up. He's going to be towing along Matuszewski into this scrap too. The Team Falcons Audi R8 LMS certainly not out of the question. Robbie Stapleford as well in this fight. Still points on offer for those further back. Again, BS Plus competition performing brilliantly. There's Kike Oliveira now on the right-hand side of your screen. As you can see, the 29-year-old from Sao Paulo in Brazil. Still digging deep, chasing after Siggy, who yeah, absolutely stunning, isn't it? Very stripy.
Yeah, indeed. Can I have one of those? I'm wearing a few caps this weekend. I wouldn't mind taking one. Florian Hasper, I know I've taken a scarf off your hands, but let's be honest, what's a cap between mates?
Maybe so. Keeps you out of the sun as well. It is very warm here in Jeddah. Riyadh this weekend, I should say. As we now watch the drivers now make their way down this back stretch and a trip through towards the bus stop once more. Kevin Siggy now being closed upon again by Kike Oliveira. Once again, will not do anything about it, just trying to retain that second place because he knows he'll need it on the final lap, when of course he'll try and rain down the assault on Siggy up at the front. But it's your driver's champion who sits out in front. There's Charlie Collins as we take a shoulder view at the sight of his rig as he looks to control the car, just lifting that right hand off the steering wheel and just prodding it as support on the rear right. Obviously just trying to ease it around. Very easy to lose the car on these bank corners, as now Oliveira once again right in that rear spoiler of that Team Redline BMW M4.
Yeah, I mean, look, the real thing here is that, do you remember yesterday, and sorry for reminding me, I know he can hear me at the moment, Darren McCormack, obviously yesterday, was leading around here in the Drivers' Championship before he got absolutely freight trained by, was it Sebastian Joe and Kevin Siggy? I think it was.
I believe so, yeah, the two red lines.
It was definitely two red lines. It was the Red Line Express that pooped it ways past, and obviously that dropped McCormack down into third position. Now, I do wonder if the same kind of thing could happen here with the two Porsche Commanders. The difference is the Porsche's not as quick as in a straight line realistically. It's no slouch, we saw that at Fuji, but it's not as quick in a straight line comparatively. And also, he's got to overtake two cars, not just the one. So if Kike Oliveira sits in the back of Kevin Siggy and maybe gives him a little bit of the bump draft, then there's definitely no chance of that happening. But realistically here, I think that might be what Porsche Commander are trying to aim to do. Wait until the last lap and try and freight train your way past. Yeah,
you can see in the background as well, just a brush on the forehead for Kevin Ellis Jr. He's currently fighting it out with Daniel Tillich at the moment as well. Those two swap places. In fact, Kevin Ellis Jr. has lost out to Robbie Stapleford as well. So that's 2 places lost for the ART Mercedes. Does have the fastest lap of the race so far, however, as they now carry the speed through the bus stop chicane, coming out of turn 11 now, and then they'll traipse around turn 12 and 13. Still at the front, Siggy controlling the pace. Once again, we take a look at the stern view from Kike Oliveira, the Brazilian now right on the tail. Of course, Kike has had his fair share of decent results. Like I said, a Victor Pryor at Spa-Francorchamps, but will definitely fancy something a little more this time around. Has led his team valiantly for quite some time. That victory, of course, coming in quarter-final phase action during the Drivers' Championship in round 3. Another look down the outside, this time of Kevin Siggy, not necessarily wanting to make the move, but just firing those warning shots, letting Siggy know that he's still there.
Yeah, indeed. Look at how close the top four are, separated by half a second as we depart the International Horseshoe, heading down to the Dogleg, then to West Horseshoe, of course. And Rietveld's chances of closing in this group, it's not necessarily done. The important gap there, realistically, isn't necessarily the one between Rietveld and de Jong. It's more the gap between Rietveld and Siggy, and that gap is almost not changed. It's gone up by 0.2, but the thing is, it's gone the wrong direction by 0.2, and so I think Rietveld's chances of maybe winning this race have gone. 5th place would be still pretty decent for Team Redline, still scoring some decent points, as is 3rd and 4th really for Porsche Commander.
Yeah, it's a decent result for Porsche Commander, incidentally. 2 really strong points finishes, as opposed to, obviously, the situation they had with Joshua Rogers. Of course, we saw the preliminary results where he showed up as 3rd. Remember, he did take a 1-second penalty in that last race, but still, figured up at the front, and the fact that they've got both Charlie Collins and Mitchell de Jong doing this time is obviously going to put a big smile on all the faces at Porsche Coanda, including, of course, Nina Brack, who has offered her own analysis here on ESL R1 broadcasts in the past, and ever a prominent figure at the Porsche Coanda team. As such a strong personality for them, and looks after the drivers in their ever-going pursuit for further competition success. And with a future like Charlie Collins will have, I'm sure that will not be not too far in the distant future. Once again, we see the cars bursting around on lap 8 of 10. Still Siggy up at the front as they venture through turn 1. Porsche Coanda getting very close now, though, Lewis, because Collins right on the tail now of this BS Plus BMW.
And do you know what will be a fun fact for you?
Hit us with it, Lewis.
Is if Charlie Collins or Mitch de Jong is able to pick up a podium in this race, it would only be the second podium for Porsche Coanda here at Riyadh.
Unbelievable, really, when you think about it.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Josh Rogers only picked up 1 podium yesterday, at least as far as my stats run, which is pretty wild. That was at Fuji, of course. Here at Daytona, only finished in 12th position and scored an absolute goose egg. So, yeah, for Porsche Coanda, I mean, it's a good sign. I know, obviously, the strength of the field, you could argue, is a lot weaker in this race, so, yeah, there is that, because it's not the Drivers' Champs finale, fair enough. But it does mean that Charlie Collins and Mitch de Jong are driving very well. We're on the penultimate lap of the race, though, and still Siggy, Oliveira, Collins and de Jong are the 4 that are going to do battle for victory. This is going to come down to slipstream and timing. This is a strategic race now between the 4 of them.
It definitely is that. Kevin Siggy still out in front and in charge. The 2 Porsche Coandas, though, starting to turn the screw and apply the pressure, and Kaiki Oliveira is going to have some decisions to make, I am sure, very shortly. Of course, we're now about to move on to the final lap of the race. Only 2 corners remain here as they take the bank curbs. There you can see up at the front the very familiar navy blue and red colouring. That is the Team Redline BMW M4 GT3, now being coerced upon by the sister BMW of the yellow and blue and white familiar colours of the BS Plus competition outfit. Of course, this one being driven by the dynamic Brazilian, that being Kaiki Oliveira. Now hunting down after Siggy in towards turn 1, late on the brakes here. No doubt Porsche Coanda are going to start thinking about upsetting the front 2 very soon, I'm sure, because they need to get both cars into the podium fray.
This is going to come for the run out of the bus stop, of course. We'll take a look at the replay here with Robbie Stapleford. Oh, a little bit of contact there with one of the Virtus Pro cars, sending him straight out into the barrier. Let's have a look. So there was a rub coming into them. That's actually a hard one, because the thing is, that because of the contact earlier on, they're unbalanced, and that's what sends Sheriff Pennon out.
And then you add on top of that the run over the curb, which only unsettles the car even more. So you only exacerbate the issue, I think, in that instance. But it's Kevin Siggy still. These top 4 have now stretched to nearly 2.5 seconds clear if we look at the gap between Rietveld and Siggy, because both of them teammates. Rietveld having his own hardships yesterday. Looks like he's on hand for furthermore today, Lewis.
Yeah, indeed. Well, here we go then. The final run out onto the banking. About 2.5 miles until we end the race. Slightly under that, probably about 2 from where we are, as we'll see Kaiki Oliveira once again closing in on the slipstream. Up to the rear end of Kevin Siggy. The real final corner here, though, yet to come as they get onto the brakes and head into the Le Mans chicane. Kevin Siggy continues to lead, looking for yet another victory here. He took one very important one yesterday, and that was obviously to take the Drivers' Championship. At the moment, the drag race, though, is about to begin, and Kevin Siggy will bring his way around the final corner. Can he close his way up to potentially take his 3rd victory here in the Esports World Cup as we bring our way onto the banking, now out onto the start-finish straight as we head down towards the start-finish into the dogleg. Kaiki Oliveira goes to the high side looking for his 2nd victory in ESL R1, and it will indeed be Kaiki Oliveira. Charlie Collins into 2nd place and Kevin Siggy to 3rd. What a victory for Oliveira.
Absolutely masterful from Kaiki Oliveira. It's a big S, a win, a superstar performance from the man from Sao Paulo. Incredible from Kaiki.